Next game. I picked, this is tier 1 on HT. The map is called H.T. I probably should have picked Eagle again. If you've seen the Eagle versus Vonbolt Global League match earlier, I wanted to pick Eagle, but then I really feared a Sasha here. I really feared a Sasha, so I went with the boring choice of Vonbolt and had a Vonbolt mirror matchup. So I just continue with normal captures. I pretended to capture this property, but I really went for the neutral base. I can capture chain onto the airport, so I go for that property first. He does the same thing. Let's hurry this up a little, because it's just a capture phase. You know how it works. Go for neutral property first, and go for nearby properties first. He built a tank on his 2-base side. Okay, I built a tank on my 2-base side, just to match it up. I wanted to capture chain onto here, but his tank would push me out of it. But I do want a property, so I decided to go for an artillery instead. Yeah, just one artillery here. So I can maybe put it over here where I can be protected by my infantry and capture the city. I clearly had not learned anything in the Eagle versus Max game about how slow artillery is. This map is pretty open on the center. So artillery was probably a bad choice on this map. So I do love artillery, but I suppose there are cases where it's just not viable to use. I go for the airport here. I don't want him to stop it, because getting an airport up front is pretty strong. And I built a battlecopter to ward off the tank. We continue capturing. And I think he just had the better capture order. Like, he was a little more aggressive, as he should be. I played more passively, which was a mistake on my end. I'm playing as Vonbolt. I should be more aggressive. And he still doesn't have an anti-air, so I went for the comm tower. If you try to stop my comm tower, I can get a shot off with my battlecopter. This map looks like we would be swapping comm tower, since I have 2 bases and an airport on his comm tower, whereas I only have 1 base and 1 airport on my comm tower. And look at that, he didn't even need an artillery and he's getting this city. So this artillery was pretty much a complete waste. I could have gotten a tank instead. And I go for a kill over there, built a battlecopter here. If you want to get a strike on my tank, my battlecopter will strike your tank. Let's see. I also built a tank here. I recognized I needed a tank, because this artillery isn't going to do anything. He gets a shot on my tank. He also gets a shot on my infantry, so we're pretty equalized. I went to shoot this infantry just because I could. Eh. And I go after his infantry, of course, and begin capping his comm tower. I want the fight to be on the side with 2 bases and airport in my... I want the extra base in my favor, basically. And I also trapped his tank here within range of my artillery. But my artillery is a little overworked now, because it's now needing to protect this infantry and attack this tank, which it can't do both. At least not in one turn. But once again, I'm building more units over here to pressure it. I built an anti-air because you typically don't want to fight battlecopters with battlecopters. You want your battlecopters doing more important things. Let the anti-air fill the role. So he tries to stop my cap, which is normal of him. He shifts his anti-air left, which is also good because this is why this artillery is weak. He can just shift the tanks to the left now instead. So, I suppose on maps more open like this, I should go less with artillery, except for maybe one on my strong side to encourage them to stop my, like, just not necessarily to deter them, but just so that I can get shots on them when they try to stop my captures. But defensively, this artillery isn't working as well defensively on open maps. You want offensive artillery. And this is when I believe I made a blunder this turn, where for whatever reason I didn't want my tank in range of his tank, so I put my battlecopter there. But that was a mistake because now his anti-air can reach it. So that was a mistake on my end. I just lost that battlecopter for nothing. And at this point, I'm losing, but I know I crawled back from losing games before. But I also have to keep in mind I'm not playing as Eagle anymore, so the trump card isn't exactly there. I joined Cap to take this property, and if he's shifting to the left, I should too to meet up with him. And I tried to get a luck roll. I think, yeah, I got it. I was hoping this artillery can, well, this anti-air can reach this wood so that I can start covering my units better. Unfortunately, I was unable to reach it. And I built a fighter. I realized he no longer has anti-air on the right side, but he still has a battlecopter, so I may as well just chase his battlecopter away with an anti-air. Well, I mean with a fighter. He could have used the tank to interrupt my capture, but instead went to kill this infantry. Don't exactly know why. Maybe he just rather keeps his tank alive than his anti-air. But I'm losing. I'm behind on income, unit value, and unit count. I do get rid of his battlecopter. His fighter, he can break this infantry and attack my fighter with his fighter, but I can just build an anti-air here to prevent that. I go after his anti-air, destroy it, and I continue trying to capture it. I don't think I can capture it, but I just want to keep his units busy. And there's more battlecopters. There was also the chance that his battlecopter could go attack my base, so I built a battlecopter here to make sure that doesn't happen. If he attacks it, so be it. He's losing a battlecopter because my anti-air is nearby. And like I said, anti-air over here to cover my fighter. He gets pretty good shots here, but we're nearing our powers soon. And he built a medium tank, which, yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with it. Medium tanks typically one-shot anti-air. I needed my power. I didn't want him to get it first. So, boom, I use my power and just I tried to block his medium tank off with my 2 HP tank, but his 4 HP tank will definitely destroy it. But I'm so far behind on income. He's getting my comm tower, whereas I'm getting his. And it's just all around not in my favor. I put my fighter here along with my 2 infantry to bait the Ex Machina, but he doesn't use it. I mean, he doesn't have to. He could just. It's not that strong anyway. He might as well save it for a better turn. He's winning right now, and he can just continue pressing his advantage. Unfortunately, my anti-air can't reach the fighter, which was a little disappointing. So this fighter is still a threat to me, and now he's just holding on to his Ex Machina. So I'm at this point the game is already over. If I ever try to death ball, he can just pop his super. I just captured this property, now he's taking it back. And in a mirror matchup, being 4k behind on someone like Vonbolt, it is pretty rough. If you're playing as Eagle, then it's based on whoever gets their power, their super first. But against CEOs without strong powers, it's just whoever's winning in the unit count and unit value. There's nothing much the power can do. So I thought I might as well start picking off some infantry to get some, to be ahead in unit count at least try to be. I thought he might have to base lock himself if he wants to shoot at my anti-air, so I went for it. But it was probably a bad idea. If you already have unit count advantage, it's fine to base kip or base block yourself if it gets good value, because you have the advantage. You can play unconventionally. Well, not unconventionally, but you can bend the rules a little bit if you're ahead. And it's like I just lost a battlecopter just to damage a little infantry. But the game is pretty much over. I get a shot there, and I group my units together in a ball over here to bait the Ex Machina so my bomber doesn't get hit. And my opponent did something clever. The Ex Machina would hit here. We can use the move planner to determine that. But he destroyed a tank first before using it so that it would hit my bomber. And this is a point where there's no way the game is being turned around. The game's over. Nothing can be done. But I keep fighting. Perhaps if I can get rid of his fighter before my bomber is destroyed, I could use the bomber to some effect. I tried to get off whatever I can get over here. I wanted to do at least 1 HP of damage to slow down his capture. And I should have used this infantry to block off my bomber. But I had already made my move and it's a bit late for that. I used my fighter to protect my units over here so you can't walk through there. And, well, once the bomber is gone, there's nothing left I can do. I could build another bomber, I suppose. And he built a fighter. So now he probably would win in the air war now. He even blocks off my airport here, so I can't build a bomber on this airport, so I have to use this one. I tried to trap the Neo tank in here, but he has a fighter that can reach it. And when his fighter heals to 7, it will have enough HP to blow it up, so that Neo tank is breaking free. I built a bomber to hit that Neo-Tank, but that Neo-Tank is getting free, so I believe after a few more moves, I resign. Yep, this is a resignation. So, I should have learned from my Global League Round 7 that on maps this open, artillery isn't the way to go. Artillery is very slow. I should have learned from my Eagle versus Max map as well that artillery isn't exactly the strongest on extremely open maps because of the tanks are just more mobile. You can shift from one side to the other.